So we did indeed. So it's over 55. It's even 56. So we can continue. The idea of, so it was for the roadmap. We covered the different parts of the roadmap that we defined last November. We also saw what the changes in SOFA, what the piece of work of the SOFA consortium staff, and now the idea is to focus more on your side. I mean, on the side of people that are actually attending the meeting, a roundtable of recent work, what is going on, what has been done, ending projects and so on. So that's for this part, and for, I would say, the projection of future months and next release, it will be just after lunch. So we have about an hour up to lunch, and then we'll restart at 1:30. We wanted to make it relatively light for something which is remote, because not always easy to attend and so on. All right, so we had already some kind of predefined out of roadmap contribution, at least it's contribution that we noticed weeks by weeks, people starting working on different topics that were not necessarily on the roadmap. It's not a problem. Just the idea here was to make those people talk a bit about what they are doing, what's the purpose of that, how it could actually be useful for others. 5 of them were actually noticed, so I don't think that Damien will attend, because so it's why we put it in italic. When you're in italic, it means you're sick. We hope he is getting better and he'll get back in the super fit shape as usual. But we'll have at least 4 small presentation. Again, it's I would say 5 minutes presentations or similar about different topics. There will be continuous integration for Guillaume with the state of the art of continuous integration. Fred that will talk, so that's something which might have disturbed some of you recently if you're following the master branch. Modularizing all the core of SOFA, making sure that modules are cleanly separated one from another with clean dependencies and so on. It's good work that's Fred started, and that shall continue. Younes that will talk about the SOFA launcher, and Eric about Unity, and I think it would be interesting to have also some chat on Unity between Eric and Remy, my beloved Remy. So we can shall we start with you, Guillaume?
Yeah, we can.
All right, perfect.
I am ready.
So let's chat about continuous integration.
Actually, not so much continuous integration.
Okay.
First, please do not hesitate to interrupt at any time to ask any question around continuous integration, but not only, because what I would like to show you is something I guess has never been shown. It's more all the environments, so not only the continuous integration, but also all the platforms and how they work together. So mainly, what do I maintain every day? So I will share my screen. It will shut you down. Sorry, Hugo.
Okay, I was not
here.
Yeah.
Can you see this beautiful graph? I hear no answer, so I suppose yes. Okay. So the idea of this graph is to.
Could you zoom later?
Yeah, I can zoom as much as you want, but I will try to make it.
Maybe if you download it, then you can if
no, because here I can zoom and it's vectorial and I can do everything I want. So
okay, nice. Yeah.
I can do this also.
Yes,
how is it now?
But, yeah, a little more and it's perfect. Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Guillaume.
So I can't see. Okay, anyway, let's, yeah. So the idea was to show how everything works together, and to just to create a first draft of this, because obviously I don't I forgot to mention stuff. So the idea was to have a first overview of everything. So the main parts are the colored squares. So here in purple we have GitHub. In yellow we have Jenkins, the continuous integration. And here in green we have the website, but not really the website, more the server on which is hosted the website, and also the dashboard and the documentation. And yeah, actually there is no square for the website here. There could be one. So not easy to start with this, but I will start with the continuous integration, since I guess it's the most interesting for everyone. So so far we are using Jenkins, which is a one among others way of doing continuous integration. The good part of Jenkins for us is that it permits us to have as many and as the most configurable machines that we want. So that's important for us because we want a lot of them, because building SOFA is heavy, and the way we do it for now is heavy. So historically, we have always done this way since I arrived in Atinaria. So all the builds are done in a sequence and not in parallel. For instance, when we launch a build, there is a procedure that is doing here, that is developing all the scripts one by one. So that's what I deployed after the main. So these are the scripts that are on the CI repository on GitHub. So when we launch a build, it first, let's do the chart for the builds. So we are here in GitHub on the SOFA repository. On this repository, there is a webhook that is triggering the SOFA framework job on GitHub for each push, pull request, or comment. So if there is a push on the master branch or any other branch, if there is a PR that is opened, or if there is a comment that is made, the SOFA repository triggers the SOFA framework job. Then the SOFA framework jobs look at the content and ask if it's relevant to start a job or not, because we won't start a job for every comment. We will look at some regular expression if there is a comment like CI build, like we use it every day, or if it's not like this, we don't start a job, a build. So let's take, for example, the case that it's a new pull request. So we want to start the build. This job, so in Jenkins, you have jobs that start builds. The job is like the configuration, and the build is like the action. The build is done in two steps, two main steps. First, it will set up the configuration, set up what we want to build, because if we are on a pull request, we won't build on the same configurations than if we are on a branch, because as you can see, if you have already gone on the SOFA dashboard, we have a lot of configurations like Mac, Linux, Windows, but also for each one we have with plugins, without plugins, debug mode, release mode. So we do all the configurations for the branch builds, so for master builds, for example, but we do a reduced set for the pull requests, because otherwise it would completely crush the continuous integration. So this is the first step of the job, deciding if we are on a pull request, which configuration to build on, if we are on a branch, etc. And the second step is the build itself. So all the builds are done by following scripts, shell scripts. Those scripts are hosted on GitHub on a repository called CI. And that's what I was speaking just at the beginning. The pipeline is in one continuous call of scripts that calling scripts, and we don't do the build in parallel. So like in a modern way of doing continuous integration, we should first do the main build of SOFA, of course, and then do the tests and all the install and the unit tests, scene tests, all the tests we do, and of course the packaging if you want to produce a binary in other jobs, so that when we start doing the SOFA build, the main one, the first one, it's not too long, and then we can just wait and use another machine to do the other stuff. That's not what we do for now, because what we do for now is we reserve a machine and we use that machine to do everything. So we have to know first what we want to do. Do we want just to do a build and that's all? Do we want to do a build and the tests? Do we want to do the regression tests? Do we want to produce a binary? And then once we know everything we want to do, we do everything without stopping. And if we are stopped in the process, we are screwed. We have to do it again. To do that, we have a lot of machines. And that's why I said at the beginning that we need a lot of machine, because when the machine is taken to start on the procedure, it's taken for some time. So it's the duration depends on the OS principally. On Linux, it's not too long. It's like 20 minutes. But on Windows, it can be like 2 hours or more. So this is a main point of improvement that could be done. It's to have the builds done in, so that's the pipeline idea of the modern continuous integration. So have the builds produce parallel jobs. This task has been already discussed during the meetings, and it will need first to be able, so that's stuff that has been discussed like 1 or 2 weeks ago. It would first need to be able to build SOFA without any plugin, and then to use this the result of this build to build every plugin one by one or together, I don't know, but out of SOFA. Even the plugins that are in the SOFA sources. And we know that those are the ones that are problematic, because all the plugins that are already out of SOFA more or less are able to be built out of SOFA, but the ones that are in SOFA now, no, they can't be built out of SOFA easily. So there is some work to do in the plugins first to be able to build every plugin out of SOFA, and then we will be able to go towards this solution of having a build that is mainly focused on SOFA first, and then all the plugins, and then all the tests, and not reserving one machine to do everything in a row at one time. So that's about the scripting part. So everything here is open, and you can get it on the CI repository on GitHub. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is the latest improvement I added in the latest weeks. It's Docker. So what I wanted to do, I already said it before the break when I spoke about the development in SOFA in the last 4 months. What I wanted to do at the beginning was to use Docker to manage configurations on every machine. So my idea was to have Docker run on all the machines on any OS to unify all the configurations to make sure and to ease the maintenance of the configurations. For example, if we want in the future to change the version of Qt, so it would be just 3 Docker files to edit, one for Linux, one for Mac, and one for Windows, and change the Qt version that is used in the Docker file, and that's all. Because then the Docker image will be automatically regenerated, and all the machines connected to the CI would use this Docker image, and there will be no problem. But that's not possible with INRIA machines. So because all these machines that we can see here, so here are the jobs and here are the machines. Those are mostly virtual machines, except for this one. This one is the physical machine that is hosted by Defrost. All the others are virtual machines hosted on the official CI, INRIA CI platform. So all these machines are hosted on a platform called CloudStack, maintained by INRIA. And the problem is that we can't run Docker on the Windows and Mac instances of INRIA virtual machines. So I still wanted to develop this solution, so I did it for Linux. So now we have a hybrid solution because we still have a manual maintenance to do on the macOS and the Windows machines if we want to change something in the configuration. If we want to change something in the environment of these machines, we have to go on the machine and change it. That's a pain. But for Linux, it's really, really nice to use Docker and to change stuff like just by editing one file, and that's all. So all the fancy graph here is here to show how the build goes. So first we check out the CI scripts. Then we check if the machine has Docker. If it has Docker, we load the Docker image by getting the name in some file. And then through the shell, we run the main script. If the machine doesn't have Docker, we directly run the main script through the shell. Then the main script run everything. So you can, if you're interested, you can just check out what every script does, but that's not really important here. And that's mainly it for all the CI parts.
And for the CI, so for you mentioned Docker that it was not supported by INRIA machine, right? That's what you and
the problem is more specifically the problem is that virtual machines must have the nested virtualization enabled, because of course Docker is like virtualization, and it's not enabled, so we can't even start a virtual machine on the Windows VM. For example, if I want to install VirtualBox and run a Linux on my Windows virtual machine, I can't.
Okay.
Sorry,
maybe
what was the
maybe
question?
and for information for others, it's a quite an important topic for SOFA, obviously, and for other software projects at INRIA. So it's a global discussion which is going on among what is called INRIA Soft, which is the department dealing with all the softwares at INRIA. And yeah, hopefully there will be something coming out from that with a some kind of better solution, especially aiming at Docker. I mean, allowing easier Docker integration.
Yep.
I'll let you. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, not too long, so that we can have so time for Younes and others.
Yeah, sure. If you have any question, just ask them right now, or maybe later. There is no problem for me. I can answer any CI question at any time. Eric asked about how to contribute, how to help on this. Unfortunately, we spoke quite some time before about adding your own machine to the task force here of all the nodes, but it's not possible because it's closed to the INRIA network, so you can't. I thought you can, but actually you can't. I tried myself and I can't. Maybe by asking some special rights directly to the CI staff at INRIA, we could have access to this to connect our own machines, but right now we can't. So if you want to help, I guess it would be more on specific issues, or help on the upcoming big task that will be to build SOFA separately from the plugins, and then build the plugins like I explained before. This will be a big project, and will need some help if possible.
Yeah, cool. And
I have a question. Yeah.
You scared me. Yeah. You scared me, Christian.
Pourquoi?
You spoke suddenly, loudly, and but yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, you want to see me, maybe? Yes.
Christian.
Yes. Sorry, I was not there at the beginning of your presentation, Guillaume, but so maybe you mentioned it. So, but do you think it will be possible in the future to, so when we do this continuous building of SOFA, would it be possible to easily create binaries? Because I think the more we go, the more, in fact, people are happy just to have some binaries.
Yes. So it's actually already possible to produce binaries through the CI, but like I said, it's a bit of a pain, because you have to actually start a build and say that you want to produce binaries just at the beginning. But it's doable, it's possible. There are always some tweaks to do, and for those who don't know, I worked with the Defrost team several times to produce binaries for them, and I used the CI to do it for some platforms, because on others, like macOS is always a pain. there are always some tricks, some stuff that are not yet very that are not yet finished on the CI part to make sure the binary is okay. So it's still a work in progress, but I hope that it won't be so long. Maybe for the release that is upcoming, because at each release I polish a bit more the system. Maybe at the next release, so this one 2026, the CI will produce completely all the binaries, but it's still in progress.
Yeah, but if it's in the roadmap, we should also maybe include something that can easily ease the also from a usage perspective, you know, how you have to.
I really agree to this point, and I think it's really a good time to ask the question about putting some environment and CI related work on the roadmap, because it's coming from the needs are coming from everywhere now, not only from Defrost. But I'm just putting one warning, is that I can't be the only person working on the roadmap task.
No, but yeah, this is.
But I agree.
Yeah, like in many subjects, yeah, of course. But yeah, I think I mean if the need is shared by other team, maybe also we can.
Yes, we will. And that's it will be the point of this afternoon work. But I guess we could easily define some environment and CI subtasks that are possible for anyone to join, not only me.
And in addition to that, defining tasks and also needs. You know, if we have technical needs where we see that on specific points the INRIA architecture is just not fitting anymore, and I think it's something we need to a bit get rid of, is not the good expression, but basically get more freedom with our own CI, because for the moment it's really imprisoning and limiting us a lot. So constraint for tickets and support from INRIA CI staff, and I mean they have their own constraints, but we need to get rid of that. So I think working on both, you know, expectations and needs of tasks on one side, and technical needs and platform needs, and provide that back to INRIA would be nice, because then we could work on that together. Okay, thank you, Guillaume. So there was another small part on, you know, documentation and so on. I think the most important point is just to say the documentation is still online. You know, the documentation that you can have access all on the SOFA framework community documentation, the community/doc is actually based on full online documentation, which we are working on a bit every day. We are trying to get ourselves trained on some specific topics, constraints, and so on with Christian, so that we can produce documentation, additional documentation. So if people are knowledgeable about some stuff, do not hesitate to share this knowledge with us directly or directly on the documentation, and to make doc pages. It's always welcome. So, and we have also people from the community, even those last 2 weeks, who made some feedback to us, saying about the versions that were supported, that it was not correct for Eigen, for instance, or it was unclear. And yeah, that's some kind of, you know, I would say improvement loops, which are super good in the community, where we have feedback and improvement, feedback, improvement. Next one for the presentation was, and Guillaume is always a contact point for this CI information. He must not indeed be the only one working on that, but never hesitate to contact him. I can restart just sharing the one slide showing to everybody the different kind of tasks. I mean, the different kind of roadmap outside from roadmap contributions. Fred, are you ready to talk a bit about modularization? I don't know if you have slides or not, but talking
Never
about
ready to speak about CMake, but yes, I'm ready.
Okay, perfect.
So share your screen.
Yeah. New share. No, I want to stop sharing. Okay, there you are.
Okay, so I share my screen.
we always have a half thread on the screen, you know. Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, so well, the first point is that I didn't know I was working that much for that modularization at the beginning. I was thinking it was really an easy task, but not really.
We're nervous.
Yeah, but at the end, I understood that it was for software engine and stuff, so that's okay. Let's do it. So let's start with just current state in so far, more or less. So what I was saying is like in CMake for now, before, but now also, there's a lot of libraries, as you could see, like from deformables, from mismapping, and etc. With not that obvious names usually, and 5 big CMake packages, the sofa base, common, general, and so on, with not a relevant name as well. And in CMake, if you wanted to do your plugin, you wanted to have some functionalities of sofa misc mapping, for example. And so you had to do find package sofa misc. Well, this one it was easy to find because sofa misc mapping, sofa misc, it's okay. But for example, sofa deformable, I don't know why it is. You have to search for it. And after that, you have to do target at library, your name for a project, public, private, and something like that. And sofa misc mapping because it's the name of the library. Okay. And when you do that, it will add the library in your project and add the includes and all the configuration and stuff. Just before I would just do an apartheid, like what is a collection, because everything was not complex enough, like I said in the subtitle. Collection is a group of stuff, of packages, lib modules. So basically, it's just a library of a library without contents, more or less. But just it's allowing us to link multiple libraries in one. So for example, the sofa component all, if you don't want to break your balls with sofa deformable, sofa topology and everything, just link with sofa component all, or find package sofa component all, and you will link with everything. At least you are sure that you have everything. So it's not that good, but at least it will work. Okay, so what was the problem? Discrepancies between all the CMake stuff, like targets, libraries, packages, collections, and stuff. Even me, I was like, what the fuck is it? Even now, I'm still a bit fuzzy about that. And mostly, the most important was like, you couldn't see the dependencies between libraries, targets, whatever, at the CMake level. For example, if you want in sofa deformable, it was like find package, sofa, I don't know, sofa base. Yeah, but what do you need in sofa base, you know? So it was not really clear. So that's it. And so the overview of the current state of sofa at the CMake level. So you can see there is a lot of library and package library. So you cannot do find package on that. And there is also CMake packages, and there is collection. So you can see that it's brain fucking. And even me, I was like, what's the difference between sofa command and sofa command before? It's because you cannot do find you cannot link sofa command. You can find package it, but not target at library sofa command. You had to do, for example, the sofa component command. So for me, it was not that obvious, and it's really like I don't know, not very clear for me. And you could see the 3 red stuff on the bottom down of the screen because it was the starting point of Damien, who started like last year, I think, to modularize all these things. Because like that, if we modularize everything can be compiled out of 3. We can see all the visible dependency. We can do our own. I mean, for like people who want, like for me, I want only one library with topologies. I will do a topology collection, what we said before. It will be possible once everything is modularized. And of course, if you have less stuff enabled, you can compile much faster. I forgot to say that modularization is different of pluginization only because modules is inside the SOFA source tree. I mean the SOFA / modules. And the plugins are something external from SOFA, like application / plugin or your own plugin. But at the end, it's the same. That's just we wanted to have a different name between module and plugin. Plugin was more like external from SOFA, just a term. But, so that's it.
But if it's the same, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah. I see your point.
I mean, maybe from an external point of view, if it's the same. Maybe
yeah, but I guess it was for the legacy developer of SOFA. It's like, for example, the SOFA base mechanics. It's really SOFA, you know. It's not a plugin. You know what I mean? But that's just a term. At the end, if we want to change it, we can change it. That's why we said modularization, but it can be pluginization.
Yeah, I think it has just been messed by everyone. Like all the pull requests that are already been done. I'm not sure for example, SOFA dense solver, it shouldn't be called a modularization, but I'm not sure it wasn't called a pluginization. We don't care. It's the same stuff.
Yeah. So basically, just to put out of the very mess of the dependency net in SOFA. So what I wanted to say, it was a big sum up to Damien Marshall because he started all this shit and was difficult to do. So sorry he's not here, but thanks to him.
So what help him to recover?
So what is plan? I mean, plan and work in progress is like no more library alone. Everything has a library plus packages, so you can do find package in either the target library. Like that, you can really tailor-made your CMake file. Like I just want a SOFA deformable and SOFA based topology, and you just add just link with that. And we decided to keep the kind of collection concept for like compatibility. Like just for now, I guess for 1 or 2 releases before a lot of work will be done, we'll keep the principle of SOFA common, general, disk, and everything. But it will just be an empty shell. It will just link. SOFA base will link to SOFA base visual mechanics, base topology, all other stuff. But just for other people, for their plugin, they don't have to modify that much their code. Yeah, that's it. So everything at the end will be red. That's the plan. And maybe we will let the SOFA component all because if really you don't want to care about the different module, you will be still able to have all the SOFA linked if you want. And so what we are doing now. So for each module in B to find solve the dependency. So it's not that obvious sometimes. One big step I noticed that a few days ago is to remove the SOFA test from the test. Now we have to use the base test or something like that from the core of SOFA because SOFA test is linked with everything else, so it's like making a big mess with all the dependencies. And so SOFA test is deprecated anyway, so we have to remove it. This is a bit bothersome to do. So make sure that the make file, that is more cleaning, that make sure that the make file are well done. Like Hugo said before, like a module is a plugin, so it should be installable, like we do make install, find packageable, usable as dependency for other plugin, etc. So it should be like clean and standalone. You should be able to do it out of structure. And everything is to be, I mean, we should do, while doing that, to do the SOFA example plugin. So it's just a template for people who wants to do a plugin and how I do it clearly. You just take SOFA example plugin, copy paste, change the name and add your code. Like that, all the CMake part should be done nicely. And in the near or far future, I don't know. After all this modularization has been done, will be done. We could do the dispatching, as we said, for SOFA NG. as in the document you can see in the agenda of the Hugo. We could do the dispatching like SOFA component topology, SOFA component solver, anything. And to remove this advanced common MISC terminology, which is quite bad, in my opinion. That's it.
Thank you, Fred. That's yeah, that was very, very clear. I think if, at least to me, but yeah, for it can be a bit maybe less clear for people that are not looking from very close what is currently moving on in the core of SOFA. You might sometimes just get the consequences of those works by linking issues or that kind of things.
I think.
Yeah.
I think from a user point of view, I guess a user using SOFA, the only thing that is important remembering, if there is one thing to remember, is that everything that is in a fine package, you can link it. That's all.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the main point, actually. That the fine packageable is target library-able.
I have two remarks for that. One that is just coming up to my mind, which is from a discussion from yesterday evening with Bruno, and that's also in a previous discussion with Guillaume. It's I think normal with CMake when you have like that, a lot of several small CMake sub projects, or the configuration of CMake might take more time, right, Guillaume?
Yeah.
So will take more time. So yeah, that's one of the risks. But then, so it's going to be a bit cumbersome for people when we will configure SOFA, because it will be a bit more longer, a bit longer, especially on Windows. It takes a lot of time on Windows. But that's for a well-dedicated purpose, because it will be way more clear when you will use, for instance, a binary version of SOFA and your own plugin. The dependencies will be so much easier to write and clear, and I think you're going to gain on that significantly. Yeah.
No, just
okay.
And actually, we need it for the future. If we want to move towards SOFA NG, we want to have all the modules independent and well done, so that we can find package and link them to construct a new organization of everything.
Yeah, because when I was doing the modularization of some really small module plugin, I thought there was no dependency, but there's a lot of implicit dependencies. It's quite bothersome, especially in the test. It's really weird. There's some weird mechanism on Windows, for example. If he doesn't see a symbol he wants, he will not link. So you have to force Windows to init the library to make him include the code inside. Because for example, in your test, you need to test, I don't know, CG. So in the test is written, I'm loading CG now, like with the text. So when you are compiling, you don't know you need the CG, actually. You see my point? So you have to force the test to load the module containing CG. So there are a lot of tricks like that happening in modularization.
And the second point, which is some kind of, it's not a risk. The first one is not a risk. I mean, CMake configuration taking a bit more time. If it's for cleanliness or for basically being clean on the CMake point of view, it's maybe a price to pay for that. But the second point, which is maybe a bit more risky, is the fact that when we will go towards, it's a generic fact, but when we will go towards a more modular core of SOFA, it will also mean that we will have, nobody will talk about the same thing. It means that nobody will have the same definition of what is SOFA. And that's yeah. So we'll have to have some kind of official version of SOFA with a set of supported libraries, but this will not prevent people to deactivate any other plugin or library, whatever you call it. But so it means we need to be careful in the future of what will become SOFA, what will be the definition of SOFA, because it might diverge a bit from a team to another. And finally, for what is officially supported or not, it's something that we will need to be more, I think, strict and more, or at least clear in the future, because otherwise it will be difficult to understand each other when we talk about SOFA, just SOFA.
I wanted just to add a remark. I want to stress the need that, the fact that people should, the people concerned by this stuff, to come to the Wednesday engineer meeting, because very important decisions are made at that time. For example, when I was doing the two graphs, I remember that we removed the SOFA component stuff, the name, We could have done a compatibility layer, for example. But it was decided not to do it because all the engineers present said we don't do it,
Yeah.
But it could have been the contrary. We could have decided to keep it. So that's why if you want to have a voice in that kind of things, you should come on the Wednesday engineer meeting.
Yeah, good point.
Just a small remark, as you said about your remark, last remark, Hugo. Yes. I think it's connected also to the previous discussion about being able also to compile different versions. So if we have a mean on the CI to compile different versions of SOFA with different different options of compilation, and we can extract easily binaries.
Yeah.
Then it changes everything, because you do it by yourself, on your computer. I don't know if you will do it, but if you can easily, we can easily configure different version of SOFA and extract easily some binaries. Then you can just download the binaries, test it, and validate it's working.
Yeah,
I think it can help a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I add it here. Yeah. Generated from CI could help. Okay. Yeah, thank you for the remark. Next one was Younes. Yeah, he's back to his seat. Perfect. Younes for his work on the SOFA launcher. So this again can be, I think, a very huge, just like what is Fred doing. Fred is impacting us all. Here, what he's doing Younes is not directly impacting us all because it's not forced into SOFA, but it's a very interesting feature that I think most of you could be interested in, and some of you are sometimes even using similar approaches. But that's a very nice work that he did. I'll let you share your screen. I think you'll take it will automatically take over Younes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we see you, and if you share your screen, perfect. Yeah, I see myself.
Okay. I'm coming just to okay. That's fine. You can see my screen?
Yep. Perfect.
Okay. Then, like Hugo already said, I'm Younes. I'm working in the defrost team. I'm working mostly on the SOFA launcher, on new SOFA launcher. As you already know, SOFA is more focused on real-time simulation problematics. Now, in the teams, in the defrost team, we are working in new topics like model order reduction, soft robot, shape optimization, and machine learning. And all these topics has in common the need of launching like thousands of SOFA instances. And to do that, you cannot sit and just launch one by one. And there is the first. There is the first SOFA launcher is born is already in SOFA, like it's in SOFA tool, I think, where you have the first version of SOFA launcher where you can use these to launch several instances of SOFA. But the thing is, today is we are going step forward. We are adding some new features in this SOFA launcher. It's not in the SOFA website yet, but I think it will be there in maybe few months. And this new SOFA launcher has, like, the difference is you don't need the first one. You need to install SOFA on your machine before being able to use it. Now we are based on Docker, and you don't need to install SOFA launcher. You don't need to install SOFA anymore. You just have to upload the SOFA image we already built on on Docker Hub. and you just use this image to launch Sofa. Then the advantage of this is I'm working on two things. We have the first demonstrator, which is based on your machine, where you can use Sofa Launcher, this image to run several instances of Sofa using maybe your local machine, or you can run it in parallel on your machine, or you can run it using SSH, or you can also use the Grid 5000 to run it. We have these four options to run this Sofa Launcher. And the advantage also is we are adding features to be able, after run, to be able to gather the results, process these results. And for that, we need people to use it before we're able to add many features on this part. I think that's very important thing. But this is the first part of where we have this demonstrator is based on your machine to run Sofa, and I have the second part where we are trying also to propose. It's very strange. I don't see myself. I don't see anything. Then I don't know. Like I'm speaking out loud. You are still hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes, no problem.
Okay.
and we see your screen, the soft robot plugin.
Yeah, soft robot plugin.
Okay. That's I'm speaking out loud. I don't see anything. Then this is the second part I'm working on. Also, is to propose a website where you can run directly your scene. You just come and post and pass your scene, and you can run it, or just download your folder where you have your meshes and everything. Like I have a quick example here. Like here, this is just test examples where your I already have the scene here where now you can also download or pass your scene. Then you can choose the time, how long you want to run your scene, maybe 3 or 4 seconds or 5 seconds or 1 hour, as you want. Then you just save the scene after you run it. When you run it, this will be running on the website, on the server, where it's producing. Like here, I want to just produce a new image, and after you produce this new image will be like you already see, this finished. Then you update it directly. Or I'm proposing also the feature for this part where you can run directly. You can, instead of downloading the soft robot binaries, you can directly go there and just test it. You follow step-by-step tutorial to run each one of what we are doing. Like I'm still working on that. You can try there also. Maybe you can modify the scene, the tutorial scene, and then try it step-by-step.
Without anything installed on your machine, right?
You don't need to install anything. You just have to use
anything.
Anything. You will become like a god in the community. No install needed.
The thing is that's what we are for. Then you can use your Windows and work on that. You can use Mac. You don't need to install anything. You don't care for what's running behind. You can use Sofa like a black box.
No, the main drawback is that it's not interactive. You have to, you cannot really so you launch Sofa for a certain number of seconds, and then you get a video.
Yeah.
So you cannot really use your mouse to play with objects.
Okay, I don't hear all the question.
I just said that you cannot play with your mouse with the object.
Yeah. You cannot play with your mouse. Yeah, it's not that kind of interactive. But that's the drawback.
Yeah. And another remark is that you are not. It's not mandatory to use XML ugly XML old scene file.
Here, yeah. You can use Python because you don't care. But I have another example with Python.
No, but just kidding.
And at the end, also, if you have some result at the output result, you can also check your result if your scene ran well, or if the scene didn't run well, you can check to see. and also you can like create new projects. This kind of. But I think when we will put it on website online, maybe I already talked with Guillaume. He said to tell him when I will put it, then we can have like some feedback, the first feedback to add or remove some things. I don't know.
Yeah, that's very nice, huh? Very nice.
But for the example of software launcher, I don't need if it's need. Maybe I can do some. I don't know. But I can just
Younes,
show.
Can you explain maybe how you import a project? Because like when you have like external files like mesh or
that's what I will show you. But I have to. There also I'm working on it. That's what you just do. You just choose file like that and go and download your folder. Like you can say, okay, I want to download this folder. This is my folder. Then you open it. I don't know which is like it's an example. I don't know. I don't have an example here. But let's choose plugin. Download directly the thing. Then if this folder also, you can choose also the same thing and download the folder. Then the folder will be creating behind the thing on the server. You will create some place here. You will create directly. Here you will go inside this cd static. Then here you will have all your projects you are downloaded, right? Then when you will launch directly behind, you know where to go to find the new scene. When you download the folder, you also download the file, and you can go also to choose the scene inside this folder you already downloaded. That's what I'm adding also. I don't know if it's what you are asking for.
I think so.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Ines. So yeah, again, we could when you're ready to talk about it, and when you're anything that you need for promotion, you can let us know, and we can again advertise that. Yeah.
For the software launcher, I think it's already done, and I'm just need some users to maybe to know if I have to add some new things or.
Okay, cool.
What I didn't say, I forgot to say is for software launcher, I had like I have 3 kind of images. I have the basic sofa image. I have sofa headless for people who want to produce some image or videos, and I have sofa Python 3 also for people who are working on sofa Python 3. Then all these sofa images are on Docker Hub. Then you can download them directly to use them if you need. If you don't need to use my sofa launcher. This is also for like it's already based on sofa, and you can use it for something else other than a sofa launcher.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So I'll ask you again later on the direct link to the website and a bit further information, so that we can then really spread the information as much as we can. Also, putting in the first page header of Sofa. I mean, that's really cool stuff that are done. Sofa Qt Quick, your work on Sofa Launcher and so on. So that's really things that need to be really pushed forward. So we can work on that after STC.
Okay.
Good. Thank you, Ines. We can move on to the last one, which will be Eric, I guess, if you're ready to show up. And yeah, and then a bit of discussion, and then Remy, if you can add anything, of what you've done and interacting also on this Unity topic. Eric, are you there? Yeah, perfect. I'll let you take the screen sharing in hand, and it goes even faster. I think that than when we were on site, sharing computers, and it's even more efficient. Okay, thank you. I'll let you add. There is or at least I get some kind of box on the right hand side. Yeah.
It's you, in fact.
Okay.
Yeah, it's better.
It's a small box now, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah,
I don't
perfect.
know what
It's okay. Yeah, this way is okay. This way is fine.
Okay. So okay, thank you. It's working. Yeah. So I didn't know exactly who would be here at the meeting. So I will just go very quickly. First slide about history so far. So just to present myself. So I've been working in with SOFA before at Inuria, doing mostly some topological changes. Then I worked during 4 or 5 years, I don't remember, in a small company named Bell Curves to do some cloth simulation still with SOFA. And so since 2017 now, I'm working on my own as an independent dev still to work on SOFA. And the idea was really to integrate SOFA inside other known software like Unity, Unreal, or Godot, which are named as a game engine. And so the idea is that they really have, I would say, poor physical engine. And so we want to put SOFA inside. And so in 2018, I created the company Infinitech 3D to be able to provide this service, the integration of SOFA inside mostly Unity, in fact. And at the same time, be able to do some services, I would say, around SOFA. And so to be able after to support the whole framework. And the idea is to be able to do some funny stuff like doing some cutting in VR and everything. How I did that to integrate SOFA in Unity. So basically, it's using a private project which name is SOFA Advanced Physics API. Yeah, I know what you mean. You we saw no one. It's strange. So the idea is there is an API on the SOFA side and there is an API on the Unity side. And so they are communicating together. The idea is that on the SOFA side, we are able to access any features, the graph of SOFA, any features from SOFA, and we are able to control those components and also the simulation scene. And on the Unity side, we do like say like wrapper of the SOFA components inside Unity, what we call game objects, which are nearly the same as our components. And so I started this work 2 years ago now, and the first idea was to create like a concept of object from SOFA. So I did something that was wrapping the simulation scene from SOFA and creating some what I called deformable object, deformable mesh, rigid mesh, or visual mesh. It was working, but it became there was too much constraint. And so I wasn't able to do any kind of simulation. So that's why I'm speaking about it now. It's since start of the COVID work, I did a new version of the API. And so right now, in fact, so just let's roll back. So before here, I don't know, do you see my mouse?
Yeah.
Okay. So just before, as I said, I was doing some big concept. So it would be a deformable mesh if you have mechanics with FEM, mass, and everything. So it's this one. And you were able to change some parameters. There was some rigid mesh if you have no deformation at all, and visual mesh was only to display some nice rendering. And so now the idea is that I will parse totally the simulation graph from SOFA, and I created some, I would say, some categories of components. So basically, there's, for example, animation loop, collision, FEM, loader, mass, etc. It doesn't cover everything, but I'm trying to gather the main concept of what is used in SOFA. And so now here you can see what the graph look like in the Unity scene. For example, for the famous lever, flying lever. And so I'm creating several levels of integration of SOFA inside Unity. There is the most easy way is to pass an ugly XML file from SOFA. So you can, every time you, inside Unity, you need to create what I call a SOFA context. It's like an object from Unity that will handle all the SOFA instance. And so you can, from this object, you can define the gravity, for example, the time step, also load some plugins, and then load the scene file. So for example, this is what I get if I load the Caduceus. And then after you can do some Unity stuff like putting new materials, everything, and putting also other objects from the scene of Unity. Then there's a second level of integration. So I'm going deeper and deeper. And the second level is to still to create the concept of objects. So it's not the same scale as SOFA components. It's more like, for example, here I'm creating a sphere collision object. So it's taking the Unity mesh, and on top of the Unity mesh, it will create some sphere collision inside SOFA. So it will create a node in the SOFA simulation with a mechanical object, with a collision, sphere collision, etc., and add it to the scene. And here again, inside Unity, you are able to use the GUI and change several parameters like the number of spheres that you want, the stiffness, and the radius. And then the last level of integration that is still a work in progress is to be able to create directly the graph of SOFA inside Unity. So here you can see I already can create some basic shape, 3D objects. Then I'm also able to create some DAG node and etc. But this is work in progress. I'm not sure it's. I will spend a lot less of time on it. It depends really on the needs of the community. So just some results. So now in Unity, I'm able to create what we already have in SOFA, so the multimodal representation. So we're using a visual model. There's another node that handles mechanical FEM, another node for the collision, etc.
Golden spheres. That's awesome.
And so yeah, this is a small demo I recorded yesterday. Maybe no, doesn't work. I don't know if you can see well.
Yeah, so it's okay.
So Max, okay. So yeah, just to show that, so it's still the lever demo. When I load it here, for example, I'm looking at the tetrahedral gravitational force field. And so for each component, I'm also parsing the SOFA data and add it in the Unity GUI, and you are able to modify it. And it's a bit like what Bruno said. So depending on the data, sometimes it will just update the component. Sometimes it will just reload the component. So for example, I'm changing the mass of the object. And here I'm just showing that how to show the collision object, the collision model, sorry, which are objects in Unity. Here just showing the FEM, tetrahedral FEM. So you can see very much that. And here just to show that it's not fake. I will just change again the modulus to see it moving. Okay, so just to show you that we can change the data. Right now, I'm not able to do the data link like what we do in SOFA. So that's why it's not an easy task to do the graph edition inside the Unity. And just some small what features are handled right now in Unity. So there is haptic devices on rigid or deformable object. There are also some funny cutting in VR or resection, in fact. And I'm also doing some multi-threading, so simulating several objects at the same time in SOFA. We're able to do via VR environments, of course, and recently I've added also electrophysiology. Just wait, I see there's some chat.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
It's Christian who is hurt by your dirty images of liver.
And so that's it. I don't want to go.
You need to remove the square again. There is the square in your contact.
Okay. And so just small work about what next. So I will integrate more advanced features like needle simulation from Adrian Cortocris and a beam adapter from Christian Duret, and also some other stuff. And so I'm waiting for the SOFA next release to release my version of SOFA Unity.
Okay.
So I don't know
cool.
if you have more questions.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it's it can be interesting for research or other companies to collaborate just on when it's for visualizing coupling simulation with those tools.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't say, but the idea is really not to do another GUI of SOFA. I think SOFA Quick is here for that. Here, I just want to integrate SOFA as a physics engine inside other software, be able to have to do more stuff. And, I do also some work on the GUI because you need to be able to edit it inside Unity, but it won't be the next the GUI of SOFA.
And yeah, the idea was to couple that a bit with Remy, because Remy, you are I don't know if you're here and if you can hear us, manage participants, Remy.
Yes.
Ah, perfect. Oh, and we see you. It's amazing. And yeah, because you have been working on as well Unity, SOFA and Unity. I think on a bit different way, right?
Yes, it's way less advanced than Eric's work. It's based on work that Frederick Roy did, and it's more the way we are not integrating SOFA inside Unity. It's more we have Unity, which will drive the SOFA as it's just running SOFA on a side, and the communication is just Unity is asking SOFA if he could have some updates about some models he wants, and it's mostly for me. It's mostly sending visual models to Unity back.
Unity, okay. Well, you said that you were going to make it. It was in one direction. I mean, you needed something in going into some direction. I don't recall. It was from Unity to SOFA, right? Or
so what we want is to have SOFA working for the physics, but our project is mostly to produce like kind of a game. So everything will be in Unity, and Unity is asking SOFA to retrieve some updates about some meshes. What we did recently is that in SOFA we add some models, but we wanted also to have some environment from Unity. So at the initialization of the scene, Unity is sending some models from it to SOFA, and then SOFA is able to, of course, dealing with physics about. For me, it's about an endoscope, but so this endoscope can also collide with some models coming from Unity.
Okay.
There is no other way back. So what I send from SOFA to Unity is only then the update of the endoscope. And because of, the environment is already there in Unity, and it's fine. Of course, it's easy for us because our environment in Unity is stable. There is no deformations. If you wanted to have some updates also of the environment in Unity, it should, I guess, be a bit more difficult.
Yeah, will you need any update from Unity to SOFA in this direction? You know, something that would change in the Unity world and send to SOFA, or?
Oh yeah, no. So
okay.
In we would like to do that, so we'll have to face it, and we'll see if it can work. But for now, we just have like kind of a rigid environment in Unity, and while it's easy, but we can't do.
Okay. But yeah, and just for generic purposes, so just to know that, you know, there is those server connection between SOFA and Unity that can also be done as you are doing, Rémi. And yeah, I think a bit more connection on those Unity topics would be nice. But yeah, it would be the opportunity in the coming months. Okay, thank you guys. If there is any question, please do not hesitate to ask, interrupt as usual. What's next? So what's next? It's in the slides there. Sharing the screen and the slides. There you are. So Damien is not here to talk about his current work in the core of SOFA, and we're back here in C++, .C, SOFA, and so on. He started working on removing aspects that were there also. So that's something that was defined for components, but not only. It was also for data, especially, and to handle, you know, data management when it was done for multi-threading purposes and so on. Something that was making the code a bit more heavier and so on, and it's not used at all, at least on our side for the moment. So it's something that then Damien removed, and is, I think, aiming at some other clean in the core of SOFA. So we can't talk about this today, but it would be interesting that maybe I'll see with him if he can make us some plan about what he's aiming at in the coming months. If he's some ideas, of course, every Wednesday it's going to be discussed on the pull request and so on. So stay tuned. It will be whatever discussed and highlighted. So what's next? So for the afternoon, it will be there will be the roadmap definition based on, you know, what each of us is actually aiming at for the next month, 6, 7, a bit more months, and validating this roadmap. What we wanted to, so there will be the lunchtime, obviously, just afterwards. We wanted to maybe make a small roundtable. So I don't know if it should be after the slides for lunch. Let me check that. We wanted to have a small roundtable of what you guys are up to. It was okay. It was there. Sorry, I skipped the slide. It was there here about you guys. In the actually you guys, and when I say you guys, it's you guys, everyone in the video conference. I'll take maybe people one by one. I mean, it's completely open, and you can just say that for the moment, no plan, no developments, and so on. It's just to take some news about what you did in SOFA. What is your current activity? What would be your interest? What would you like to see? Maybe, and that will make an introduction for this afternoon, because this afternoon will be what we will aim at doing in the next months. But just in case you cannot attend the afternoon and so on, I wanted to make a very short roundtable. So we heard very shortly your voice at the beginning, Chiao. I don't know if you can let us know, you know, what you are doing with SOFA, and if you are implementing some stuff, if you have done some stuff with SOFA recently. So I don't know if you can hear me, because you're muted. Same for I had also the question for Abdelrahman, for Jeremy as well, and we'll do all the other, I think, earlier this afternoon. So if Xiao is not replaying for the moment. So do not hesitate to interrupt anytime, Xiao, if you are coming back. Abdelrahman, I don't know if you have a mic. In the same way, if you are, if you can let us know about some developments that have been done recently in the core of SOFA, and that could be, even if it's not open source, but things that you are currently doing with it, and that's always good to hear for us to know how it's actually used.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, just right now I'm trying to start with SOFA.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to build it, but I couldn't because of the problem I said before in the forum. But so I downloaded the soft robotics part from the Defrost. Right now I'm working with it, try to see how it works. But I'm planning to do some reinforcement learning on soft robotics. So it's still work in progress. So I haven't done anything yet.
Okay, cool. No, thank you for noticing us, and never hesitate to come to us on the forum as you already done.
Maybe just could you just tell us where you are and where you are working?
Because I'm PhD student in university in Turkey called Pash University.
Okay.
Thank you, Abdelrahman. Jeremy, I don't know if you will be connected this afternoon. If you have some updates for us, of what has been done or what also for the projects for the coming months.
Hello everyone. Yeah, I probably won't be there this afternoon.
All right.
It was nice to see presentation. Thanks. Not much update from my end. I mean, it's interesting to see some of the refactoring that is being done. I don't necessarily agree with all, but it's a good, I would say, yeah, interesting to see the different decisions being made. I hope it's like there is a lot of things that seems to be improving for using SOFA more easily, and that's always a good thing. Yeah. So
okay, and yeah, I mean, if you have any, for us, it's also always valuable to, even if when you do not agree, at least for us to understand, when people do not agree, why, what's the reason, and to see if it's, if we can change plans or do things differently so that we can make it as, I would say, acceptable for everyone as possible. And yeah, but and again, I mentioned that for the training session, it was in the first slides of the presentation this morning, but for training session that occurred, so between there was one of them was in Simo, and that's the kind of think relationship which are also really interesting for us, for us to train people in companies or research centers when they are just starting. So same for you, Abdelrahman, if you are interested for trainings. But it's good kind of relationship. But development inputs are always even more valuable to anything else. Thank you. If you want to add anything, do not hesitate. Join later, of course. So I mean, any time. Thank you, Jeremy.
Sure, thanks.
Chiao, I don't know if you're back. We will unmute you. But yeah, I don't know if you wanna say anything about even if it's just a starting project with SOFA. Let us know about your interest in SOFA. Or it's just a remote connection.
We lost her.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. So we can. So it's already 12:20, 12 past noon. So we can restart. It was planned to stop at around noon, but we can restart. So as scheduled at 1:30. Let us about an hour to stretch a bit, to eat a little bit, to make some yoga in between, and then restart. So we will do again a roundtable, and there we'll talk really to everyone. And the idea would be for those who did not speak about what they did, shortly explain what they did in relationship with SOFA, especially if it's in the core. It's always more interesting for us. everything is interesting as you obviously, but and most importantly, what you aim at doing in the coming months. So you can already prepare some stuff, things that you're going to work on, things that are bothering you with so far, and you would like to see changing. And you even if sometimes you're not an expert on this part, but I can recall about the collision problems that you faced. Remy solving the. It was a way of activating a part or not of the collision model. So all this kind of stuff can be interesting to know if you're gonna target those projects in the coming months. So do not hesitate to prepare some stuff, and we can see each other again at 1:30. Okay. See you.